Hey guys, it is Drac. I get about 2 requests a day to do a Nerf Firefly mod tutorial video. So that's what this is. This is the ultimate Nerf Firefly mod tutorial video. This is a vintage Firefly that I found in my garage. I must have had it when I was a kid. That's why it's kind of beat up. But the internals are the same as the modern Fireflies. The first thing I want to tell you is if you're not even going to take it apart and do the mods, you will get better ranges with streamlined darts than you will with sticky darts, just because the seal is better. When you fire the stickies, you're getting, I don't know, out of this one I get about 15 feet, but when I fire the streamlines, I'm easily getting 30. So I think that the streamlines are much better. They're a ton of screws. They're all on this side of the blaster, and the wiring is on this side, so I'm going to take it apart like this. Okay, so here I am taking apart the Nerf Firefly. As you can see over here, I've got 3 piles of screws. There's one particularly tiny one that goes in this hole up near the rail attachment. The medium ones go all throughout the body. You don't need to take out these 2 screws in the cocking mechanism, and you don't need to take out the screw on the battery door because the battery door is independent. Now there are also 3 incredibly long screws. Those go 2 in the stock here, and then 1 up here where they really anchor the body's halves together. Now once you remove all of those, come in with a flathead screwdriver, not the Phillips head screwdriver that you took it apart with, and pry it apart into its 2 halves. This piece comes off, it's got nothing but that battery door in it. Don't worry about this. These are your internals, and from the internals I can tell that the main mods we're going to be doing are removing the air restrictors from all 8 of these barrels. They're just like Maverick barrels, it looks like. And then we're going to come in and we're going to reseal this plunger rod and probably do a spring replacement so it's more powerful. It's interesting to see how they did the wiring for this. It's got a switch that's a lot like the night finders for this light up here that flashes when you pull the trigger. And then they wrap their wires around the screw posts in much the same way that I do in my Mavericks. So right now I'm going to remove the barrel chambers by taking out this black screw and these 2 screws back here, and then I'm going to remove the plunger as well by removing these 2 black screws, and I'll show you what I do to them. When removing these parts, you have to come in and take out all the black screws holding in the white rotating mech, 1 screw here holding this piece, which is the returning trigger mech that connects it to the barrels, and then the screw down here that's this large black screw that holds the orange piece on. After you've done that, you can remove the entire barrel assembly pretty easily, and the white peg that originally held it in place will slide off. Keep track of that. The plunger system comes out simply enough when you remove these 2 screws, and then this blue piece and a spring will fly off. Just set those aside to put back in later, but they're not necessary for taking apart the plunger system. Once you come into the barrels, you will remove the screws here, and then there's a 3rd one under this orange piece, and then there are some underneath this white piece. I'm going to remove those with a hammer to take this apart and get at the air restrictors. Getting into this barrel system is tricky. You have to come into the rotating mech and remove this screw from inside with a Phillips head screwdriver before this piece will lift off and you can get to the 3 smaller screws. Now once you finally remove this white piece, which is a pain and you have to use a flathead screwdriver, you get into here and you'll see that all the air restrictors have air restrictor springs, which are honestly tougher than modern air restrictor springs, which is probably why the blaster doesn't shoot quite as far stock. Best way to do this is to take this entire thing and tump it upside down, and all those air restrictors and their springs are going to fall out, and then you come in and you'll see that this reflective piece, you want to leave this in because it's what makes the flash so impressive on the Firefly, is the reflecting light through the barrels. But then you come in with needle nose pliers to get out these dart pegs, and then I'm going to take the dart pegs and Dremel them into discs with my utility bit on my Dremel. So I'll show you what that looks like when I'm done, and then we'll move on to the barrel. Okay, so here is the completely put back together, un-air restricted barrel system. That's pretty much done now that I've screwed everything back together. I can set it aside. Just don't forget to lose this white piece which goes here. Now, the spring system in this plunger is easy to get apart. You just slide this down and take it apart. Don't forget to lose this catch spring. You need this. When you slide this apart, you'll notice that the spring is pretty measly in here, but it comes off easily. Just remove that screw, and I'm going to add a night finder spring. Hopefully that gives me some more punch. Okay, so I've almost finished putting the thing back together completely. I've screwed in and locked down the barrel rotating mech, and that's working just as well as it used to now. So the only other thing that you need to do is remember to put the spring and the blue cap back into your plunger system and lay them in along with the catch spring where they go. I'm going to screw that back into place, put the body back together, and show you how it's firing now. Alright, so this is the Nerf Firefly finished and put back together. The draw on it is a little bit heavier now, but it's worth it because the power and ranges that I'm getting out of it have over doubled, and that's firing both streamlines and sticky darts. I'm getting much better performance out of it, and what's odd is because the stock springs were so tough, I didn't have to upgrade the catch spring at all, and it still functions fine. It still has the light up capability because I didn't touch the wiring at all, and these things were built to last. I'm really pleased with how this mod turned out. I hope you check out the internals over at my blog, nerfgrid.blogspot.com, and thanks for watching.